So we had grabz generate a pretty interesting competition map for the prior competition this time. It's not always this funny, but with this particular Mark 5 seed, it kind of is worth recording the completion of this map. So what do we have here? We have a very disjointed terrain. Creeper is mostly concentrated where we really don't care about, but there is still an emitter and flip breeder on the top island, and the goal is to activate totems. 4 of them are where our likely starting point is, because where else do you start on this map? And 2 of them have generated on the top island, which pretty much means that they are going to be covered in creeper real quick. As usual, the first thing that you do with any map, not even competition map, you just let it play at 4x for a while and see what happens. Whoops, started spawning, not surprising. Creeper levels rapidly rising on this island, which is also pretty much not surprising. We will need to pass for Teleptic here. Considering the usual build order, it's going to be something like 37 seconds to build miner here. At this point you are starting the refinery, and this means that it will finish at about a minute 20 seconds, then it's going to be filled for 10 seconds more, and 5 more they are going to be flying forwards and backwards. So approximately 140, maybe when first Litic is going to start coming to your factory. So 130, 140 is the cutoff point where we want to know what exactly do we have for creeper levels on this island. So it's 130, it's about a realistic time to expect the Liftic to arrive to our factory. And we already have 20 levels of creeper pretty much. That's not quite something that you usually want to fight if you can help it. Okay, let it run for a little while longer. A ton of forbs. That's not necessarily a bad thing considering where they are. It's actually pretty funny. What happened here is that this map was somewhat RNG based. I could try and replay it from the beginning, but I'll just explain what is likely to happen on your playthrough if you're going to try this map. Because in all of my playthroughs, something happened that didn't happen right now. It's purely based on the RNG of these forbs. Once this thing hits any of this, Flip Breeder will start moving Creeper upwards, 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 and in all likelihood by 3 minutes you are going to have this completely covered. About 3 minutes is the cutoff point for that. So any strategy that expects this to be uncovered is relying pretty heavily on what forbs are going to do. It's just not viable. So that's that. Okay, so we have 30 levels of creeper by 4 minutes, by 3 minutes. It's fine. This map has a secondary layer of problems, and that is defined by how long is your rift lab going to fly, for example. Let's say that this is not a rift lab but a cannon. So we have this totem, and ideally we want to somehow push the creeper back here so that we can feel it. It's been slightly over a minute and it just reached here. If that was a cannon, which this means that Only after a minute of this flight we will have our forces fighting back the creeper and pushing it back so that we can place anything. That's the second layer with this map. Of course we can take our sweet time, like 30-40 minutes fighting back the creeper on this island, but that's just not viable. At least not in the speedrunning competition mode. Okay, so how do you think about this map? We have essentially unlimited resources, perfectly safe island, totems that we don't know how to fill, but we have suspicious island that is just conveniently enough located so that you can place container there. So we immediately have this. If this is Liftic, we can just pass Liftic to this totem through our Rift Lab. Of course, our Rift Lab will have to be there in the first place, but that at least means that we don't need to fight here at all. Assuming that we somehow get our Rift Lab here and manage to do the rest of the mission. When we're talking about actually doing this mission, this is going to be something like this. We have an interesting terrain feature here that allows us to build up to this totem with a couple earned pylons. 1 and 2 here, if I'm not mistaken, yes. Normal pylon line isn't going to be enough here because these are placed somewhat too far. But a lot of players forget that you can actually earn pylons and their connections start getting quite a bit longer. This is also what allows us to place this thing here, because the pylon gets earned. So after all of the earns arrive, we have connection here, we have connection here, and the rest is normal. What else do we have, and what else should we do? This is basically the pre-planned layout that I have for this mission. It's something that is pretty useful to have. You just plan what you're going to do if Creeper allows it. Place everything that you want before you even start the mission, and as the mission progresses you just enable the stuff that you need to build. So the usual build order is 3 towers into earned miner, enabling stuff as we go to not overload our production capabilities. It's going to be feeding this miner for a while, because until then we really don't have enough resources to build anything else. Once the earned miner finishes, we immediately will have a spike of 5 more energy production, and we will be able to start building quite a bit more things. This is the last one, right? Right. So we immediately have the production of 7.5. Each building that we're building takes 2 energy per second. So at 7.5 we can realistically start building 4 buildings. We want to start working on these pylons as quickly as possible. That's one thing that we're going to build. We want to start building the earn portal, where we have build speed and move speed. Both of those are pretty important. We want to start working on our first refinery, because the sooner we get our Liftic income, the sooner we'll be able to fill the totems. And of course we want 1 more miner, because the more income the better. We are probably going to overdraw a little bit, because I also want to start building this thing earlier, but after this tower finishes. It's not really worth it trying to build the factory right now, because we still don't have any Liftic production and aren't going to have it anytime soon. Okay, I think that I want to overdraw a little bit. This will push everything back, but I kind of want this thing to be done early. Note that I don't really bother with buried urns on this mission. I have all of the urns that I need. It's probably possible to overdraw just so I have a little bit more income. Alright, this thing is about to finish and then we'll just start producing things in full. We control how much energy we want our porters to move, because we want them to start building stuff, the remote stuff, sooner. If we just let it charge the full 50 energy, then it will fly away much later, and this means we start building our pilots much later. Instead, we will cover the amount of energy it's not going to deliver with the second one that we're about to start building. Not missing anything, right? I think so. We need to kind of look at our clock, because we're on a timer and our Rift Lab isn't in our base for long. Alright, so we have 2 miners, which means that we can pretty much start building whatever. We send, or rather prepare to send our second round of energy, so that this finishes building in time without our packets traveling here, finishing until this waiting until this finishes, etc. We want to build things out of order. This is faster, and we can actually, can we? I have been talking too much, and I don't quite know if I have enough energy income to start building literally everything. But I think I should have. Otherwise, it would make no sense. We kind of want to have this. You will see why. We also need this one, because this connects our base together. Just waiting for this thing to fill up. I'm not forgetting anything, right? Okay, so once the container leaves, you can just let it fill to full. So the next container is a full one. We're going to need this container. First one has left. We have 60 here, we have 30 here, and we started with our argon income. This is going to be relevant here. Kind of have a little bit of energy excess. I'm not really sure what to do about it right now, but I think once this starts filling up, we're not going to have it for longer. You can see what's the status of the container by how high above is it. It looks like it's not going to be built. Okay, fine. So this thing is going to fly here, and this one is probably just going to be the one that I leave here. Fine, fine. I just need to remember that I need to place this container in a very specific way. Alright, so we can start building these for sure. There are several things right now that I need to not forget doing. This is probably the most important of them. And I have fucked it up, of course. Oh well, this means that my time isn't going to be as good as the one that I had. Fine. I would even say that my time is going to be considerably not as good. I have messed up the ordering somewhere for sure. It doesn't really matter all that much, but still. Okay, so now what we're doing, we just take this Rift Lab and send it here. Our base is going to have to function without it for a while. Or rather, until the end of the mission. We no longer care. And the next one, this one is going to be done with this container. Needs 9, 11, so maybe there is still a need for another container here, or rather there is definitely still a need for another container here. I'm not missing anything, right? Containers are off. One thing that you want to do in these missions, from in the beginning of these missions, is just turn the supply of all of the totems off, because you will be enabling them only when you have enough leftic sent here, and when you know that you can send leftic here. Something seems off to me, but I cannot really put my finger on it. I don't think I'm missing this thing, because the next container to deliver liftic is going to move away from this place once this container that is currently building finishes. It's kind of awkward to have an excess of liftic supply, because probably because of this thing is somewhat late. Alright, leftic, we need 20. Oh, the Rift Lab has left the base, which means that it's time to enable the containers. They are going to be used now instead of the income from the Rift Lab. Do I have yeah, this thing needs to be disabled for a while. You will see why a little later. This needs to start producing blue-white so that they feel this thing, and we can actually save for once. Note that miners don't really need the Rift Lab to produce the blue-white, which is kind of a boon for us. As this is all happening, these constantly draw energy for each crystal they need to pick up, which is why I am using the containers here. Since Rift Lab cannot sustain these, I have to find my income to continue, for my refineries to continue functioning somewhere else. This is why I prepared the base for it. What do we have on the anti-creeper front? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think it's 20, right? Yeah, it's 20, so some more time still. This is kind of awkward, but it's fine. Oh, now I am officially stupid. Okay, fine. Fine. Wait a second, why is it not flying? I need this thing here. Oh, it's not filled yet. This isn't going to be quite the time that is on the leaderboards, unfortunately. 24. Okay, so this thing is sent flying, so I need more left tick here. The second container is going to be going somewhere here. I'm tempted to just delete one of the energy containers for that, because this will just be faster. Okay, I saved. Doesn't matter. Let it fly here. I think I should have enough energy, so it's not that big of a deal. And I think I have all of the anti-creeper I might need. I take those urns and say them to fly here. I need this container so this finishes building somewhat earlier. Than if they were routed from the factory. Turn this off, since I don't need more left tick to port around. Okay, so this has built. But I don't have the arg necessary yet. Okay. Not sure whether I want to send them now or wait for one more arg, honestly. Probably want to wait for one more arg. One thing to do here is to disable the avoid creeper tick. This means that the Rift Lab won't try to ascend here, then descend here. It saves some time, and Rift Lab is durable enough to just pass through all of this and survive all of the time it needs to pass to lift it to the totem. Okay, ammo 3, so I definitely should be sending these. This is definitely not going to be quite the same time as on the leaderboards. Okay, I need to disable this container so that it's not getting used too early. I only want to enable it once this is about to finish building. Do I have... Okay, yes, so I have 2 of those. I can probably start filling them. One will go here. No. Or rather, yes, but not quite. I need one of them to hover here. It will have 10 left tick. And one of them is going to be delivering stuff to these totems. And now I pretty much should enable the supply on them. Maybe not on them yet. I just need to remember to turn them on later. Oh, wait. Maybe I'm not entirely correct. I forgot that the first thing that needs to happen is for this thing to actually get closer, or I won't have enough left to build this thing at the maximum speed. Don't want to overdraw with elliptic and end up with this thing building much slower than I want it to be. $10 and $20. Okay, so we have about enough left tick to just actually enable this. Now, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. can actually send it now, send it here now. And after this, I definitely can enable the supply on these totems. Now comes the part that I actually have to save for. The invasion isn't always fine. It's kind of fiddly. Come on. Slightly ahead of themselves. Yeah, now. This has dumped itself on the ground, and the packets are now passing into the totem. This is still waiting for the container, it looks like. Oh no, the container is about to fly there, so they are about to start filling at the time that about the time that I need them to. Okay, and I think this is how it's done. Doesn't matter. I need this to work for like 2 seconds before they start landing, so that it pushes the creeper back a little bit. Okay, so this needs to be deleted so that the cannon has a little bit of breathing room, and now I need this container to supply the energy to the cannon. I also probably need this. But like I said, it doesn't always go right for this drop. Depends. This cannon might as well die if I haven't taken enough time with the shield, which is why I have saved. Yeah. This is somewhat fiddly. It mostly depends on whether your shield has been working for enough time. Haven't enabled anything. Okay, too early. Yeah, now it should be possible. In about a while. In about a second. Yeah. Not quite at the same time, but still should be possible. Now I'm kind of just waiting for some space to open up here. Which may not happen. Oh, the cannon is out of energy. Fun. Well, somehow the cannon managed to run out of energy without really opening the space for the container. Doesn't really matter all that much. Okay, it matters because somehow I ended up without... Ah, I know what happened. I know what happened. It's fine. It's funny actually. The liftic containers, or rather the liftic packets started being sent from the refineries below, and they had to travel quite a long time because my container wasn't there in time. Okay, I know what to do here now. I need to just get a little bit of space and just remove the cannon and land the container in its place. This should work. Except I want to prioritize the packets from here. This should work, right? This should work, he said. Famous last words, he said. Fine. Didn't take enough time to clean up that creeper. Like I said, it's fiddly. It's really fiddly. Nothing to do about that. Let's just save the successful drop so that I don't have to redo it again. 12. That's about where I can actually do this. At least I should be able to. Yeah. So that's pretty much how it's done in less than 3 minutes. Like you can see, it's somewhat fiddly in the end. The Rift Lab just died. And as a result, what we have is this. Some shenanigans here, some shenanigans with portering stuff around, some shenanigans with the base operating without the energy from a Rift Lab, leaving the disabled containers so that you can actually build this tower later when the Rift Lab is actually here and theoretically you don't have energy income to build it. And the end result is sub 3 minutes.